We Predacons forbid you to watch this video if you are under the age of 13. That means you must click the box and exit the video. Yes. But if you continue to watch, it shall avail you not. No. For now the power gauntlet has been cast. Predacons, terrorize!
Hey everyone, welcome back to Input. And I know that I said I had a list of reviews that were going to come out in order, but I was at Target and these guys were there, and I'm so excited to finally get my hands on these guys, especially after that concept art that got revealed last week about what they were originally supposed to look like. This is a figure I've been looking forward to for a long time, and they just so happened to be sitting there at Target when I went there today. So yeah, let's dive into this. Let's do this, man. I am super excited about these figures. So let's jump into it. We're gonna be taking a look at Sky right here first. So play my theme music. Alright guys, so as you can see right here, we got Sky of Sky-Lynx fame. Now for you guys who aren't familiar, Sky-Lynx originally, I guess you can call him, well I guess a combiner. He's a two-bot combiner if you want to look at him that way. He was originally Sky and Lynx. Together they form Sky-Lynx. I know, how original, right? But this is really cool because the one that we got in Combiner Wars was basically a Combiner torso, and as much as I do like that figure, I really do. I know a lot of people don't, but I did enjoy that figure because I kind of like when Hasbro takes characters into a different approach. I like when they do that. They do different things with the same character. So, but this one is very much an homage to the G1 figure, much like what a lot of Siege and Earthrise has been thus far. So, but as you can see right here, the wings are on these hinges right here. Now this is this bottom part right here on both sides is ratcheted, and it is a very heavy. Well, I wouldn't say very heavy, but it's really decent weight to the ratchet. I wouldn't call it like super heavy, but I would say it's more of the heavy type of ratchet than a light ratchet. So this part right here is ratchet. It's on both sides, like I said, and then you got this hinge right here that folds down the wing from shuttle, and these fold out from underneath and stuff. And the legs are on heavy ratchets. The knees are ratcheted. I keep saying heavy ratchets. They're not heavy. I mean, I guess they're heavy for the size of the legs, but they're not really heavy ratchets. I mean, this isn't something you would see on a combiner or anything like that. Or at least like a Titan scale combiner. Nothing really like that. So, he does have his tail. All of this is one giant piece, and it folds back up into the backside area of that. His mouth does open. No paint on the teeth, anything like that. I think that would have been really cool if they would have gave us some silver or chrome or something like that on the teeth. But it's something that somebody like myself, like a customizer or something, can do, which I'm not too bothered by, because I do plan on painting this one up like his concept art. His concept art had some like gray on the nose cone, like some dark gray and stuff, almost like he was patched up. He does have an articulated tongue, which is for the blast effects. So, blast effects sit right on his tongue, and unfortunately, so the downside, here's the bad with the blast effects. I think this looks super cool, right? But you can kind of make it where he's not toppling over. You just got to adjust the legs and stuff like that. But his mouth won't close because it's just too heavy for the mouth joint. I really wish that maybe they would have put a ratchet in there or something to really kind of help the mouth be able to kind of hold this in place. Or maybe even the neck right here. Instead of a ball joint on the head, they could have done a ratcheted neck. So he can, I mean, he holds it fine, but he can't really point it up. so without it kind of falling down. So yeah, I would say ratchets here and a ratchet on the neck instead of a ball joint would have been a lot better than what we got. Now another downside to the figure I've noticed, the wings are kind of floppy. Now I know you guys have noticed it throughout the review. The weight of the wings, I mean, I feel like the hinge itself is strong enough in concept to hold it all up, but as you can see, I mean, it doesn't take a whole lot for him to fall down. And I guess you can kind of maybe do it something like this if you really wanted to. I mean, you can adjust the wings to kind of get them to hold up, to be very wing-like, so you can get really cool shots and stuff with him. But I just wish that this hinge right here was a little bit stronger, a little tighter, even, I mean, just even ratcheted even, right? But I get it, you know, that increases price and all that stuff. Also, the neck is articulated, so you can go side to side with it, and I think this is super cool. You can go up and down. So the side to side is here and up here. That joint are the ones that go side to side, and then all the other ones are pretty much up and down. But it does give you a really awesome range for Sky here, and I think that is super phenomenal. I mean, just the amount of range that you can get in the head is just, it's really, really cool. I dig that. I think that's super nice. Now, one homage that I think is really cool. Now, when this figure got revealed, you know, everybody said it was, you know, showed the NASA logo, so Hasbro got the rights from NASA to use that logo. But to feed in with his personality here, it says Magnificence. I mean, tampographed right on the side of it. And I think that's freaking hilarious. For you guys who don't know, his personality is very full of himself. So that tampograph, I think, is awesomely funny. A great homage to the character. Great homage to the IDW comics, where he's very full of himself. The G1 cartoon, where he is very full of himself. Yeah, I mean, this guy is just full of himself all around. I love that. Now, something that you guys may have noticed as well, that he's very front heavy, so he tends to fall over. But you can kind of correct that with the legs. So, I mean, the legs are posable, so you can still kind of get that front. I mean, he's standing up on his own right there, so you can still kind of get that entire look if you want it. Just if you want to have them Sky and Lynx separate, you could totally do that. And something also that I didn't point out that I probably should, people would crucify me if I didn't. The Autobot logo is a gold and red, and that is a classic callback to even G1 Sky-Lynx. His Autobot logo was always different. It wasn't gold, or it wasn't red and silver. Excuse me. It was gold and red every time, and that's kind of what what he's known for as well. So I think that's super cool that they did that. They included that. I mean, at this point, I would be really disappointed if they didn't do that, right? So let's get Sky-Lynx into his shuttle mode, and I'll show you guys the shuttle mode because it looks awesome too. Alright guys, now here we have the shuttle mode, and the shuttle mode, man, I love this. I think this looks really, really cool too. It holds together freaking well. It really does. Now, I will say that there are tabs right here on the bottom that connect what will become, or what is the leg in his robot mode to the tail fin here. You do kind of have to press a little bit harder than what you would think to get it in, but once it's in there. I mean, it's really secure. So just be on the lookout for that. You might think that it doesn't want to tab in, but it will go in, and it's you'll hear a nice satisfying click when it does go in. So so there is that. Everything hides away really well. I would imagine it would though, because I mean, here's his robot wings right there, the chicken wings. They kind of fold out there, and like I said earlier, these are the legs and the head right here. You know, all of this gets slid back into the body. Now, something I think is super cool is that the mouth is somewhat locked in this mode. I mean, you can kind of get it open, but it is still somewhat locked. So I think that's super cool too, that they kind of went the extra mile to hide the mouth. Now it does, if you wiggle the head around, you can pull it out just enough to kind of open the mouth and have this really awkward, you know, like demon shuttle. but if it's locked in all the way, the mouth is pretty much locked. It does have landing gear. He rolls not at all, I guess. But this is cardboard, so he wouldn't roll too well to begin with on that. But the wheels do move, but they don't move very well. They're not pinned in, they're clipped on. So that might be what's hindering the movement right there. But, I mean, this guy isn't made to be by himself. He's made to be with his partner Lynx. So the wheel's not rolling too well. I mean, I won't hold it against it for that, because I kind of feel like, you know, give and take type of situation there. So, also, he's got this, so this part right back here on his back does open to reveal, I guess what would be some kind of working type of something to work on the shuttle with. I don't know space shuttles, so if you guys know what this is supposed to represent, let me know. But I do think it is a bit of a miss here that they didn't have like some kind of folding out arm or something right in here to kind of drive home the shuttle aspect to it. But that being said, however, I do believe that the neck for Sky-Lynx's head or Sky's head here, I do believe that the neck goes all the way back in here. So I really don't see how they would have been able to add an arm or something like that. But I don't know. But yeah, if you guys know what this is supposed to be, let me know, because I'm really kind of curious. But yeah, so like I said, I can't really hold the fact that they didn't do anything here except for some paint against this, but because of the neck and it going all the way back. So, like I said, it's a bit of a missed opportunity, but again, what exactly could they have done given the fact that this guy's got like a 40-foot neck or something crazy, right? Well, you know, compared to his scale or whatever. So yeah, so that's Sky's shuttle mode. You know, everywhere you see gold is painted. The NASA logo, magnificence, tampographed on. Even the nose cone right here, the camera may not pick that up too well, but this is a light gray. The wings have this really awesome light gray going around it. It's probably, it's a few shades, you know, away from being a white paint. But I think this looks super, super cool. This light gray here, and it's even right here on the side. I know the camera's not picking it up too well, but it is there. And I think that's a really nice touch. Aside from the gold paint in right here, you got gold paint here, and you do have some of that light gray paint right here on the tail fin as well that continues there. And like I showed, or like you guys have already seen, there's gold paint here and then gold paint right there. This guy looks awesome. I absolutely love him. So I love this. I mean, it looks so cool. Let me grab Lynx and I'll be right back, guys. We'll take a look at Lynx. Alright guys, I was able to sneak Lynx in here past all of Shockwave's goons. So we're infiltrating the Decepticon headquarters and stuff. So shh, don't let the Decepticons know that we're in here. But Lynx here, I mean, oh, this is magnificent. This guy, he's got a little bit of weight to him. He's pretty hefty. He's pretty big. And everything that you see, so these are all ratcheted. So that's ratcheted. That's ratcheted. I mean, he is ratcheted pretty much all over the place. The knees are ratcheted. This ankle tilt is not, but the ankle going up is ratcheted as well. It's a heavy ratchet. It is a heavy ratchet. It's not loud. It's not clicky or anything, or it's not loud, but it's very clicky. It's very sturdy. So I think that's super cool. His paint. There's not a lot of paint on this guy, actually. Everything that you see that you would think is paint, like the blue is just really awesome colored plastic. The red here is painted on, but the red plastic is not. This is red plastic, obviously, because I just said it was, right? But it matches, the plastic matches that red so well, so beautifully colored match right there. And as you can see, as you can hear, the thigh ratchets are super heavy, which I think is super cool. Absolutely love that. The mouth here, the head is painted gold as well. The blue eyes, that's all paint. The tampograph. Now see, this is what I think is super cool. So Lynx has a gold head with just a red Autobot logo, but it's a gold background, much like Sky has as well. So it really shows that they are a team, that they are just two different Autobots on the same squad. You know, they're a two-man squad, and I absolutely think that's super cool. The mouth does open like Sky, and it does give you this really, I mean, far range, which is kind of cool. And now this is where I think this is a bit of a bad design, I guess. So here's the blast effects that he comes with, and I'll go over the blast effects separately. But you guys ready? He doesn't hold them at all, as you can see. But his head doesn't go up any. Well, kind of does, but you still have you have to force the head up, but you still have that issue. So I think that if the tongue was maybe up here, and it was placed up here, and I feel like that would be a better connection point, although the tongue wouldn't move with the mouth, right? So it would look awkward as well. So I guess maybe a very light ratchet on the jaw maybe would have fixed that issue, but I mean, I don't really think it's too terrible, because these get really heavy the more you stack them, right? But he does hold the regular one just fine. So I think that's okay. I think it is a very much so a give and take on what, you know, on what you're trying to do here with this guy. But like I said, these get really heavy, so I'm not too upset that he can't hold the giant big one in his mouth. That sounded terrible. Yeah, but I'm keeping it in, so whatever. But yeah, I think he looks awesome. The silver paint right here in the arm or in the shoulders is really cool as well. So underbelly looks really good too. He does have this ramp. Now this is all for a different mode that I'll get to here in a second. But his head does go, he swivels side to side. His head does kind of, you can get that like that, I don't know, that dog kind of questioning everything, like that, what's going on, guys? So you can get that, and I think that's super cool too. I really dig it, man. I dig it a lot. But let's take a look at his vehicle mode real quick. Alright guys, so here we have his sled mode. Yeah, that's what it is. His head tucks in and everything folds down. Now obviously this is another homage to the G1, really Lynx here, the G1 Lynx. This is what he turned into, so again, I can't really fault them for this at all. So this is what it is. But just on a quick note, this leg does not want to stay pegged in. I don't know if this is a common issue or not, but I do have to put a little bit more force behind it to get it to stay in, but it doesn't quite stay in. And that snap you heard was this snapping into place, the part that covers up the head. But yeah, so it doesn't affect anything at all, but it's just, I guess, something to look out for. It's definitely not a buyer beware kind of situation. I think this is one of those mileage may vary kind of situations where I think the hole is too small for the peg. So, you know, some light sanding or whatever on the peg will definitely kind of help that out. So, so if yours does do that, like I said, it doesn't hurt the figure. It's not a knock against the figure. It's just something that I noticed that I figured you guys would like to know, to kind of point out. So, but you guys aren't here for Sky and Lynx. You guys are here for Sky-Lynx. So let's combine the two. Okay, guys. So one more thing that I wanted to point out before we continue. So here I've got both Sky and Lynx sitting here. So when you guys combine these two, there's a little clip right here on Sky, and then there's a hole right here. Okay, there is a hole right here on Lynx, and there is this mechanism right here on the top. All right, so what you want to do is you're going to just kind of go in at an angle, right, and you're going to get that to clip in place in that hole on Lynx, and it's all done at an angle, and you'll feel it clip in when it clips in, and then you'll bring the front two halves together like that, and it clips in very solidly. I mean, that is not going anywhere at all. So, but yeah, it's just, you got to clip in the back side first before you can clip in the front. Now, also, be forewarned. Sorry. Be forewarned. Now, if you guys go to take this apart, don't yank it off. There is a disconnect switch right here up front, and it is spring-loaded, so it does just eject Sky off of Lynx. Boom. So that's all you got to do. Just be forewarned. And if you guys want to take a little extra precaution so you're not breaking the switch, you can pull the switch down like so, and then put them in place, and then let it go, and it still clips in just fine. So just, again, boom, done, and it done. That's it. Just, you know, so you guys don't break them or anything, just a heads up on that one. So, now I think together, I think this looks freaking sweet as well. This is very, very reminiscent of the G1 figure. This is also reminds me a lot of the Combiner Wars figure, but it does roll a lot better than what Sky does on his own and what Lynx does on his own. And I think that's because, well, I know that's because of the added weight on the wheels. It gives it better traction, more traction, and all that other stuff. Now, something that I hadn't gone over yet, that I was kind of saving for this right now, he does come with these guns. Now, these guns it's same 5mm peg hole type of situation, so you guys can kind of put these wherever you want onto Lynx, or wherever you see a 5mm peg hole. Now, the instructions tell you to put them on the back thighs, which, I mean, you totally can. But I kind of like them up front, at least in this mode, because it kind of gives them that front barreling type of tank type of feel. You know, very mecha to me. And I dig that. I think that looks super, super clean. I like that a lot. And on top of that, plus if you put them back, that's that leg that won't stay pegged in. But if you put them back here, you kind of lose the range because of the wing. So right here, he can get full range of this gun. So I do like it up front a lot better. Now, the weird thing is, so here you got the blast effect, and it does work on the gun. All right, there's a little bitty peg right here. It may not look like it'll work, but it does work on the gun. But it's not the most secure connection, at least not on mine. I don't know if that's because the peg is too small or what the case may be. But you can go all the way up to the big Bahama Mama Jamma, but this is where it starts to fall off. This is why I think the peg might be too small or too short, right? So, because it just falls off. So, I guess that is what it is. But yeah, but the small ones work just fine. The big ones by themselves, I think, are a little too heavy as well. It does kind of droop a little bit, so I don't really see that lasting on there for too long. And the long ones without the giant blast effects, again, it just falls off mainly because of how long it is. And see, that one doesn't droop because it's got a lot less weight than this bigger one. So blast effects do work, but you do have to be very selective on what you use, or how you use them or whatever. So I think that's super cool. And another thing the blast effects can use are the backside. So it looks like he's blasting off, or just ate some really bad Taco Bell. Wait, ate really bad Taco Bell? That implies that there is good Taco Bell. But, whatever. I digress. So, you can kind of just load them up with whatever kind of blast effects that you want, and I think that looks super cool. That's a really cool play feature. I know a lot of people love these blast effects. And I mean, they're not wrong. I understand why they love them, and I'm right there with them. I think the play value is something super cool, and me as a kid would have eaten those blast effects up. I would have been buying figures just for the blast effects. So, but yeah, I mean, as Sky-Lynx robot or tank mode, whatever, shuttle tank, whatever you want to call this, I think this looks super, super cool. All the colors blend in really well. Even the red that kind of pokes through from Sky's feet blend into the red of all of this down here really well. There's no real color clash on any of this, and I think that looks super, super cool. So let's get him in his robot mode and his combined robot mode and take a look at him. Okay, guys, so here we have Sky and Lynx, and just like, I mean, everything I said about both of them, good and bad separately, is right here in this figure. The only, I mean, they're just stacked on top of each other, right? The only bad that's not present is Lynx's head. I mean, that's really the only bad, you know, because his head's hidden and stuff. That's really the only bad, like I said, that's not there. So, I mean, everything, he just looks super clean, super good, and when he's put together, there is a lot of heft here. There is a lot of weight there, and I think it's super, super good, super, super cool. That, I mean, the plastic isn't hollow, that he doesn't feel light. I mean, when you look at him, you expect him to be a hefty boy, and truthfully, he really is. And I love it. I think this looks awesome. And like I said, I know the instructions say to put these back here, but I love them up front. I just think that looks a lot more menacing, a lot more tank-like, like he's supposed to be. And I will say that your Titan-class Predaking definitely has a rival in this guy. I mean, we all know how big that Titan-class Predaking is. So, I mean, Devastator finally got his rival in Omega Supreme, and Predaking finally got his rival, and I think that this would definitely look really, really cool, about to throw down on a shelf or something, like they're fighting each other or something like that. And so, but yeah, like I said, all the bad is still here, all the good is still here in this figure. So, I mean, blast effects still work anywhere and everywhere that there's a port. 5mm pegs, and this is something that I didn't address or talk about, but this is something that's really cool right here. There's a 5mm port on the side of this right here, so you're not losing your 5mm port. You're plugging the gun in, and they still gave you an extra one if you want to put some more weaponry on this guy right here. Now, speaking of weaponry, like I said, wherever you guys can find a 5mm port to attach these guns at, they work, right? So right here on the tail, if you guys wanted to put them on the tail, you totally could, and you guys could have this really awesome tail fire thing going on back here. If it was in shot, you guys could see it. You could have this really wicked, you know, tail articulated gun, and there is a hole on both sides, so if you wanted to, you totally could do the double pistol thing on the tail, and that looks cool, man. That is very, I dig that a lot, because that reminds me a lot of like a Japanese mech type of thing. That looks super, super cool. I dig that a lot. So yeah, you guys could totally have that look going on. And one more thing that I missed is you do have ports under here. So he can have his blast effects down here. So he has like a flamethrower underneath his neck, right? Like he's got dual flamethrowers right there. That's super cool. But once again, you do come into an issue with the blast effects. Again, either being too long and not supported well enough in the hole there, or just essentially just being too heavy, right? It's either one or the other. But again, dual flamethrowers down here, that's such an awesome thing to me that Hasbro didn't need to include, but they totally did. They went above and beyond with this figure. Is this the Sky-Lynx that we all wanted for a while? I mean, yeah. I mean, if this is what you wanted out of a Sky-Lynx, and you didn't want to pay, you know, the price of the MMC one, this is a great alternative. I think he's super, super cool. I absolutely love him. But like I said, before this isn't his final mode, he's got one more mode that we get to look at. So another mode, right? Like this guy is just packed full of awesome. Let's dig into his base mode. Alright guys, so here we have the final mode, his base mode, man. I mean, this came like an RKO out of nowhere. Sorry. You know, old memes aside. Anyway, but this looks freaking wicked. It's just a standard, I wouldn't say standard, but it is a launch pad here for Sky. It is compatible 100% with your mini cons. It does have the ramp ports right here. You do have some playability there with the ramp moving upward, so you can get your mini bots kind of drive in and go in. I mean, it is a tight fit right there. There is no leeway on either side, but it's super cool that it's something that you can do. And like I always say in these reviews, is that playability is a big thing for me, and I think that's super, super cool that just like Triptychon, this raises up and the mini bots, the little mini cons and stuff can just drive on inside. That's super cool. If you do have other tracks and stuff, or ramps, they do link up to these and this, and even this one, which is really weird because this doesn't really go anywhere. It slides up and it slides down, and the other side is a party foul because I hit the camera. But the other side is just flat. See, there's no cutout or anything like that. So there's no real, I mean, it's a ramp going up. I mean, it's like a ramp to nowhere. But like I said, they can just drive up and then just, I guess, disappear when they go in, because there's no real storage here in there in Sky. This is exactly what it looks like. Lynx is pretty much split in half, and Sky is stacked on top of them. Now, I will say that mine, my Sky doesn't attach to my Lynx in this mode very well, or as well as I would think he should. See, I mean, he's on there. It's just not as well as it should be. And I'm going to show you guys why here in a second when I find a place to set him down. So basically what's going on is there's these two pegs here and then a peg hole there. I don't know if this is supposed to be a peg or a peg hole, because Sky here, the way this sits, it sits on these two right here. The pegs go in here, and then the third peg, I guess, is supposed to go in there, but it doesn't sit in there because there's no peg. So it just kind of I guess sits on top of that one. But yeah, I don't know if this is supposed to have three, and these are molded separately and then possibly glued in from Hasbro at the factory or something, or this is supposed to be molded just one piece or whatever. But yeah, I don't know what's going on here, but it doesn't peg in as securely as I would imagine that it would. So yeah, I mean, take that with a grain of salt. I'm not gonna hold it against it. I mean, for my sake, from my point of view, I'm not gonna hold it against this figure because while it is something that should be there, he is probably gonna just sit in a diorama fighting Predaking in his combined mode. So me losing that functionality, I wouldn't even say losing it, it's still there, but not really having that security there as well as much as it should be, doesn't bother me because, again, it doesn't affect my play value, right? But it is something to look out for if you are getting this, you know, for someone who would want that play value to have a secure connection, right? But like I said, I don't know if that's a default in mine or whatever. But who knows? That might be just a default in Hasbro's design. Now, something else that I thought was super cool is that you can put the guns in either formation, right? You can have it like this. You can have that thing going on, which is cool. And you can have this thing going on, which is cool. And again, you don't lose a 5mm peg or port. You can put a gun on top of that, and then you can have the gun swivel however you want to, and then that gun on top can swivel however you want to. So again, play value is all over the place with this thing, and I love it. Absolutely love it. If you guys can find it, it's a hard recommend. It is right now on Amazon for about 65 bucks. And if you guys find it at Target, Target does price match. All you got to do is show wherever it's from, and as long I price matched mine at Amazon, as long as it was fulfilled by Amazon, they price matched it. So Target price matches. I believe Walmart does as well. So if you guys do find this guy, you know, pull out that pocket computer, check the prices wherever you guys can check the prices at, and get them the price match because he is well worth every penny. He's a hard recommend for me, even with the issues that mine has, because again, mileage may vary. So I will see you guys next review. As always, stay kind to each other. You know, don't be, you know, don't start drama. I mean, don't do nothing. You know, just stay kind to each other. And we're all going through the same shit right now, right? So I will see you guys next review. I love all you guys out there, and as always, cut it out. Later, guys.
Why am I under investigation? I'm not a Dinobot.